Well, I want to tell you a story about a guy named David. David is a middle schooler at Adairsville Middle School. He's an 8th grader. David came to our weekly Whisper gathering last semester. He was there every week, and he would show up, and he would grab a donut. We'd give donuts, and he would go to the back of the room, and he wouldn't say a word. And we met every week, and we watched David back there. And me and David Franklin, who shared something at the beginning of the night, we thought there's something different about David, something that stands out about him, even though he's not saying a word. So I asked David, I actually had him called to our leadership team meeting through one of the admin at the school. And he came, we had about 10 leaders at our core, 12 in all now. And he came to the meeting, and I said, David, would you be open to sharing at our next Whisper gathering? And David showed up at the Whisper gathering, one of the next ones, and he commanded the room. It was amazing. Everyone was blown away. He shared about the problem that's going on in his school with heart, with compassion, with boldness, with authority. I'm sitting in the back of the room going, is this kid an 8th grader? Because he's a lot better speaker than most of the high schoolers that are involved in Whisper, and then I've seen some incredible speakers. He was amazing. He got the issue clearly from a heart level. He embraced it. And he began to lead over and over and over again. I remember going to all the classrooms at Adairsville Middle and sharing and watching David get back and just dump his heart into the school. And he would do things like this. Some of the things we taught him, and Clay, the student testimony he's going to share, this is one of the things that Clay taught us to do, is he'd look at somebody and he would say like, hey, Ginger, how are you doing? What's your answer? Great. Well, most people say good. Good. So he would go and he would, no, it's okay. Great's actually a better answer. But about 99% of students would say, good. And then David would say, exactly. That's why Whisper takes the conversation deeper than that. Pretty good. He'd go into the classroom and he would say, does anybody in here know everybody's name in your class? And somebody in the classroom would get up and go, yeah, I know everybody's name in the class. He'd go, okay, demonstrate it. And they'd go around the room, and it was a little harder, right? A little harder to do. And people began to hear about Whisper in the school and think, wow. And we began to hear David and see his boldness. All these weeks, we had ice cream for the whole school, and I'll mention that here in a second too. And David went around to every table, going around, and he wanted to invite them to be a part of this movement because we need change. Because so many of us are crippling with anxiety. There's so much stress weaving and plaguing the school, and we never talk about it. A lot of us have home issues post-COVID, right? And David would say there's a lot of pain and no one ever talks about it, but we want to talk about it at Whisper. We want to deal with this. We want to stop the toxicity. And then a couple weeks ago, we had a gathering, we had a bonfire, and 300 people showed up at the bonfire. And there's only 800 and something students in the whole school. Pretty good. And David led the bonfire. He got up with boldness. He got up with fire. And at the end of the night, he was one of the last ones to leave. His dad came and picked him up, and I've never met his dad before. And I was able to walk up to his dad and go, do you realize what your son has just done? He has led this movement, and 250, 300 people showed up tonight. There are high schoolers that have never even gotten close to doing this. To be honest, most adults have never accomplished something like you just did. And his dad was like, I don't know a lot about Whisper. This is amazing, and there's some reasons. And I walked inside, and I looked out the window, and I saw David and his dad embracing for a long time. Clearly, there was emotions. But what I saw was there's a problem that we have today, but I saw a student whose life was transformed for the rest of his life, who had untapped potential to bring change. And we are at a point in schools that we need students to rise up and solve this problem that's happening in schools. And so tonight is called Unstoppable as the theme, because we want to make the message and the movement that we're seeing unstoppable so the Davids of the world can lead change in schools now. And there are Davids at schools everywhere, all across our state, all across our city, all across the nation. There's Davids who can lead change in amazing ways. And so about 4.5 years ago, well, I'll say this. We want to see the message become unstoppable because there's some things that need to stop. There's some things that are happening in schools that can't keep going on like they're going on, that can't keep happening. It has to stop. And Dr. Gary Davidson sitting here, and y'all have heard, some of you have been to our last two here, and you've heard him. That dude can get up and speak. That dude can get up and preach. That dude can, he's very good. And then we put him on a 2.5-minute video because we didn't want to give you 25 minutes tonight. Sorry, Gary. We got to let others speak. But no shame, I know. It's amazing. We started having these conversations, me and Nathan, me and Dr. David Ferguson here, and the designers, John Reynolds and Matt George, two of my other friends, and we started to go, wow, we've got to create a new model, a new platform that can really change things, that can really change schools. And Gary's like, hey, I'm giving you the keys. Let's do it in my school. And we're like, all right. And so we began to have these conversations, and what these conversations were, and something kind of new that I've kind of put this into is called the Whisper Way. We have kind of a certain model that we've developed over the years, and it's become kind of its own Whisper Way. And the way I want to share that Whisper Way with you is to kind of give you the contrast between the Whisper Way and the Shout Way. And so, as you can imagine, in a lot of models that try to impact students, it's usually, a lot of times it's the shout way. It's like the awareness, you try to be as loud as you can. And what do you think students do when you're trying to be as loud as you can? Well, they kind of tune you out like never before in history. Students are masters at tuning people out. We're all masters at tuning people out. So we have the shout way versus the whisper way. And the whisper way is not easy. It's hard. It's about a groundswell. It's about a core group of students being trained to live this out, identifying the right group. It's the way all movements have been done throughout history. In fact, Jesus used that model. A lot of other movements use that model. But if you have a core group that has a fire in their belly, like the Davids of the world, and you grow that to a certain number, then you can strategically infiltrate a whole school. And we've proven it over and over again. We have a model that just works, and it's the whisper way. So I'm going to give you a couple stats. And one stat is 10 years ago, 27% of seniors said they feel alone. 10 years ago. That's bad, right? 27% of seniors said they feel alone. Does that sound horrible? That sounds bad, right? Okay, well, 2020. You can put this up there. That's 2020. 2020, by 2020, 73% of all of Gen Z, from like 6 to 25, said they feel alone. All of Gen Z. 8 out of 10 students have symptoms of moderate to severe depression. Now, as one student that was here earlier says, that's like everybody. That's a lot. That's a lot. We got a problem on our hands. 1 out of 5 students, this is an old stat, says that students have seriously considered taking their own life. So I could talk about the problem for like an hour, right? The problem is so bad. But tonight isn't just about the problem, because the problem is so clear post-pandemic that students have a very, very hard time connecting. But it's really about the solution. But before I even get to the solution, I would say, what is one word that can describe the problem? If there was one word to really get into the nitty-gritty, what it would be, and it would be the word loneliness. Loneliness and social isolation would really define what the problem is. Because students go their whole day and they don't have one conversation, and they have 500 friends, but no one knows them. No one knows them. We're having conversations, and we're like, y'all ever have these? And they're like, no. We never have these. They're deficient in having conversations where they are really known. And Dr. David Ferguson's here, and he teaches relational needs. And I'm going to introduce you to one of those relational needs. And the relational needs have been life-changing in me. And see, you all need to eat good. Some of this stuff we're eating tonight ain't good for you to feel healthy, but I'm glad you're eating it. But to eat healthy, you need to eat good, right? Well, you also need spiritual needs, For those that go to church, you go to church. If you don't go to church, you're not going to be getting your spiritual needs met. But you also have relational needs. And if you don't meet your relational needs, you're going to be deficient. You're going to have major, major, major problems. And we're seeing a whole culture deficient in relational needs. We're seeing families deficient in relational needs. And these relational needs are so simple, it's almost just like unbelievably simple. But I'll give you an example of appreciation, one of our relational needs. And appreciation and gratitude, really, a person that's going to be a healthy person needs to be filled with gratitude, right? I mean, it's just common sense to appreciate what they have. And at our bonfire that we did, that David helped lead, we actually had 20 gift cards that we're passing out. And we're actually having the students were getting up and sharing who they appreciate in the room so they can see what appreciation looks like. And the whole night was themed about, we're appreciated. Look at all you here. We're grateful. We're appreciated of each other. And we teach relational needs like appreciation, like encouragement. Does anybody ever not need encouragement a lot? I mean, if you're breathing, you need encouragement a lot. You can't get enough encouragement, right? We need comfort. We need compassion. These are relational needs that when they're not being met, you're going to see bad things happen in your life. It's just common sense, but they're real deficient, and we help focus on those. So I'm going to show you a quick video of what one of the appreciation, how appreciation looks.
Great job. Well done. Nice effort. Hear that? Those are words of appreciation. Appreciation is recognizing someone for their efforts or accomplishments. It means noticing what someone has done and giving them thanks, with words, written notes of gratitude, or even gifts. Research confirms appreciation is one of the top motivators for performance. It's linked to satisfaction in the workplace and success in the classroom. The opposite of appreciation is being taken for granted, or worse yet, criticism. Criticism is felt when there's more emphasis on what's wrong with the person's performance than on what's right. And appreciation is never felt when help is taken for granted. Appreciation might sound like, "You did an awesome job, thank you for your hard work." Or, "Hey, you played a great game last night." So, start thinking about how you'd like to give and receive appreciation, because it feels great to be noticed and recognized for our contributions.
So that's one of our great appreciation videos that explain what appreciation looks like. So a year ago tonight, we were in 3 schools. And tonight, we're in 6 schools now. So we've grown. And so we have a lot of things happening with Whisper where we're figuring out how to go in schools in all kinds of different kind of ways. We can partner with organizations. You can go in the front door. You can go in the side doors. You can go through another club, go through FCA, because the movement is just at this place, like the Whisper Way, where it begins to spread really, really fast. And it can spread in a lot of ways. And when students take kind of what we do with Whisper, they take it and they run with it. And they almost run with it, or almost like the adults can almost get out of the way because they just get it so rapidly and so fast. And how they teach each other these relational needs, and how they begin to learn to be leaders at a high level, and they can't get enough of these things. And so now we're looking at expanding to many, 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 many more schools this year. Lots of schools on the horizon that we're at potential to go in, that we want to go in. These are middle schools, these are private schools, these are massive public high schools. We started in massive public high schools, but then this year we added on a private school and a middle school. So Adairsville Middle I want to park on and just kind of give you a case study and explain what we do by focusing on a couple of these schools. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Adairsville Middle, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Fellowship Christian, which is our 2 new kind of schools. And it was real encouraging to see how we went through these schools. And so Adairsville Middle was basically how it worked was, you'll hear from Principal Tony here in a second, where he pulled together. We were trying to pull together a small team, but Tony was so excited. We had like 20-something people pulled together. And so me and David would come meet with them, and we'd have these gatherings, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. It was like 50. I think eventually had like 70. And I was like, this is just a leadership team, and this is like 10% of the school. Anyway, so we were able to pick out 10 students, and these are most of the students, not all of them, who really had street cred, and we had the right ability to really train them at a different level. And we began to meet with them and teach them these principles, these relational needs. And eventually, they began to really pick up on them. And as quick as we could, David and I were able to go, okay, now you guys are going to start leading the meetings to your peers. And they took the mantle, and they actually started leading with their peers. Now, we did this during the day at a middle school because it's a middle school. It's not like a high school where you can go have gatherings at night and do different things. And Fellowship Christian, we haven't had one gathering in the whole school because they don't want to meet at the school. No offense, sorry. But they don't even want to meet at the school, which I don't blame them, but no offense. But, And so then we grew it, and we prepared this little small army of students where they're leading it, but people are learning the principles every single week in the spring, and then, in the fall, and then in the spring we said, now let's bring it to the whole school. Let's rock the school, because we love the surprise element. We love to surprise people of something real, something different, something that grab a hold of them. And so then we went to creating what's called Whisper Week. And usually we do a 40 days, and we still do a 40 days, but this time we decided to create a Whisper Week. And so basically what we did with Whisper Week was the students, they went to all the classrooms to share the vision of what Whisper is, which was a huge hit. People were responding really, really positively, really into it. And then on Monday, I reached out to Barnsley Gardens. By the way, I don't know if y'all know where Adairsville is, but Adairsville is so far away from me, they got a Buc-ee's in Adairsville, which took me a while to figure that out. Now, I put the gas mileage on, so that gas has got to go down if I keep going we need to take an offering for gas money. So anyway, side note, they do have Barnsley Gardens. I thought, well, they got a Barnsley Gardens in Adairsville. Well, they need to host one of our events. So I emailed this riveting email to the CEO of Barnsley Gardens, basically saying, hey, this would be the goodwill for the community. This is real important for you to do. You need to partner with us. They gave it to us, I didn't ask for it for free, but they gave us costs. We took the 31 of our student leaders to Barnsley Gardens. It was amazing all day. Then Tuesday, we did name tag day for the whole school, which teaches the relational need of respect. You have inherent value. You matter, and your name matters. And it was a great hit. Then on Wednesday, we did ice cream for the whole school. We got a local place to bring the ice cream, and so it was ice cream they really liked. And the goal was to focus on support and compassion, but, sort of did that, but, ice cream, come on, it was a huge hit. Really nice ice cream, it was amazing. And then we were giving them an invitation to the bonfire, really figuring out how to market this thing. Then on Thursday, we did Sticky Note Day. I've always thought Sticky Note Day, but it was a huge hit, sticky notes everywhere. It's amazing how something simple like sticky notes, we're going to definitely create Whisper sticky notes. And it was all over the place, sticky notes. People were writing notes, and it was focused on encouragement and on encouraging one another. And they're learning those principles. And then we had the bonfire on Friday night, and I thought, who's going to show up? We don't have a clue. And 250, 300 people shows up for this stinking bonfire, and it was like unbelievable. It was crazy. There was singing, there was bonfire, there was games. I had a hard time. That's why I say 250, 300, because I had a hard time counting them all. So it was amazing to see the impact at Adairsville Middle and what it's done to these students' lives and how much it's impacted people. So what we do with Whisper at the core, obviously, is we're helping them with this stuff, but we do it through change makers. We do it through raising up leaders. We want to launch leaders. And you see on the screen of the students, we've been fortunate. So many students, these are a handful of so many students in the last 4.5 years that we've seen students go massive levels of growth as a leader. And that's why we call them change makers. And you'll see students up there from Princeton to one of the best football players in college football to all these different schools. UGA is okay school, right? Georgia Tech. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if you go to, one of them is at Harvard, and he was one of our leaders. But the reality is, it ain't about where they go to school. Is these students are getting done, and they're saying, I believe I can create movement for the rest of my life. I believe I know what it's like to be a healthy person, and I believe I know how to make change in society because I created a grassroots effect, the Whisper way, at my own school, and it just erupted. And so one of the main things we do with Whisper is we're all about raising up the new leader. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think America needs better leaders today? I would say that's a yes. Just a question, I think I know what y'all think. I think we need new leaders, bad. We need new leaders in every realm of society today. And that is a huge core of Whisper. We're doing 3 things. We're teaching them relational needs, we're teaching them change maker leadership, and we're teaching them better conversations. And these conversations are causing them to be bold, causing them to do things I've never seen high school kids do in my life. They're learning how to make things happen. And it's amazing, and it's exciting. And so Fellowship Christian School is another school, and that I have to talk about because I know there's a lot of parents in here. But it was one of the models that's actually been pretty simple. And that's one of the great things about Whisper is sometimes we complicate it in the past. And we've created all these cool ideas and all these ways. And, I'm like, let's call this like the matchstick group where we raise up leaders. But really, all we did was we found a couple students like Jeff and Jen Cole, their son Josh Cole, and you'll hear Clay in a minute. And we just put together a team. Graylin's parents are here. The Longs and your kids have been incredible. And we kind of melted a group. Jack Ortiz is in the room. And we melted a group together of, 10 to 15 of us, 10 to 12. It's at the core. We have 3 to 5 and they have 9 to 12. And we lived this stuff out. We really gelled. And they were all of different kinds of things where you have the football guy hanging out with the music guy or the guy who's an academic. And it was gelling together over about 6 to 8 weeks. And then after about 6 or 8 weeks, I think it's pretty much like, Bryan, get out of the way. You think I'm kidding? It was almost like the 1 week I said, I'm not really leading. And they led the meeting. And I said, but y'all need to be challenged because y'all are getting a little comfortable. So I booked a venue, Roswell Historic Cottage, a nice venue. And I was like, and next week's your event that y'all are all leading. Yeah. And they're like, I don't know if anybody's going to come. Well, let me tell you, these kids took off so fast because we were living this stuff out. We had the event. I don't know if anybody's going to come. And over 10% of the whole stinking school shows up for the event. But here's the cool thing. The cool thing is the students who've been leading with me that I've been training, they were the ones most surprised. They couldn't believe it. All these people showed up because the model works. The model works. And now they're meeting every week, and I couldn't even go to a couple of them. Ari said it's fine because I got COVID. My dad got pneumonia, COVID, yeah. And they're leading, they're chanting. They said, Bryan, it was even better for you not to be there, which is the greatest compliment I could ever have. So it has been incredible. It has been incredible how they have led. And so basically to sum it up, we help develop an avenue that resonates with students. It just works. And that's the core. Then we raise up activators and change makers who are trained and walk alongside of. Then we kick off a Whisper Week or 40 days. We definitely kick off a catalytic event followed by weekly school activities or in the school or outside of the school where they live this stuff out in a heightened way for a season. And at the end of the campaign, we are actively launching thousands and thousands of conversations, communicating effectively to thousands of students the opportunity to receive help and hope and to meet their needs. Thus, we're changing the social climate of the school and equipping students how to activate change, no matter where they are. That's the summary of method and result of Whisper. So we're pumped about this next season, and we believe we can grow exponentially, but also wisely and impact more students than ever. We believe we can impact 15 to 20,000 students minimum this year and next year. We can grow to at least 3 to 5 schools, but I'm the crazy one. Lord, forgive me if I'm presuming. We'll go to a lot more schools as we want to impact more people. And so we have so much to be thankful for, and we got to get it done. We got to get it done. We've got to change the climate of schools now. And we've got to find the schools that will be good partners for us and expand it in a lot of ways.